dugong is an elusive animal, thought to have given rise to the legend of the Mermaid. Around the world, dugongs have been hunted to near extinction. Australia is their last sanctuary, and even here they're on the decline from gill netting and indigenous hunting. Cropp searches the tropical waters for this endangered species, the elusive mermaid. Cropp is drawn to Shark Bay on the West Australian coast. It has extensive seagrass beds and harbours some 10,000 dugong. That's 10% of the world's dugong population. The friendly dolphins of Monkey Mire are Shark Bay's most famous attraction. Red sky at night is a sailor's delight. Tomorrow should be perfect. Something went wrong. Antarctic winds storm in. It's 9 degrees here in the tropics. Cold, wet and miserable on board the James Shearer catamaran, skippered by Craig Shankland and his wife Jessie.
We're getting at least sort of 19s up to the 20s. You won't find them in the shallow banks. They'll be around in South Passage where they get the oceanic flow, or they'll be hanging in the water column in the deep water. It's just too cold for them. They don't have the blubber to maintain their own temperature.
The dugong here are living on the edge of their tolerance in the winter months. They're mammals like us and will seek out warmer ocean water at South Passage, where the storm swells are huge.
With this northerly wind that's out here today, the swell can be quite nasty across the bar and can get quite dangerous. Today, waves are starting to break all the way across the bar, but it's important we sort of have a look for the dugongs out there just to see whether they're out there and just to make sure that they're still feeding or in the warm water beyond the break.
The dugong are out here, but it's far too dangerous to dive. Ben's son Adam and Jackie King are pleased Craig turns back and runs inside the sheltering reef. The weather is still foul, but at least it's safe to swim here, and the ocean waters should be warm enough for the dugong.
Warmer than yesterday, 24.3. Oh, that's good. Well, all we need now is a bit of sunshine.
I'm going to go in by myself. I think it's a lot better for the dugong.
Right.
Thanks, Jessie.
Okay. See you later. Good luck.
Okay. Yeah, Ben. Pretty lousy.
The dugong do not like the bad weather any more than I do. At least this little patch of warmer water swarms with life. There are no seagrass beds here. The dugong graze on the seaweeds. This dugong is a female. See the mating scars along its back.
How'd you go, Dad? Oh, not very good. They didn't like me.
Didn't like it today?
No.
It's that wetsuit.
They,
too heavy.
Oh, no. They were just individuals, and that was the problem. You know, I just see one at a time.
Okay.
They can't stay overnight in the turbulent South Passage, so Craig runs inside to the sheltered, colder waters of the bay. The time surfing is bad. It's the coldest weather for 20 years, and this makes it extremely difficult to locate the dugong. Any surfacing will be brief in the cold wind and rain and choppy seas.
What's the reading, Jessie?
Oh, 18.5, big call today, Ben.
18.5?
Yeah.
Dugong won't like that.
Oh, I don't think so.
And I'm not going to like it either. It's going to be cold.
Well, that'll explain the big wetsuit.
Okay.
The dugong is actually a cow underwater. This is its diet. The dugong breaks down the cellulose material by bacteria in an extremely long intestine, some 30 metres in length.
Oh, cold in there. Now this is what the dugong eat. It's called wireweed, and it's tough. I mean, I business how they can even digest it. It's really tough. And they graze on the ends of it as it's sitting up waving in the current there. But this is a temperate species, and in fact it's called Antarctica, which that's what it's like down in here. Now in the summer there's different species pop up here, and the dugong actually like the base then, this is called the rhizomes, the roots and stems of the tropical species, and that's when you see them sort of rooting around in the sand, you know, digging up the sand because they're trying to get this base. The rhizomes, because it's got a lot of starch in that. I don't think I'd eat it though, pretty tough.
It's cold, it's wintry. The dugongs are probably out deep. They're hanging in the water column, and they'll only be surfacing every 6 or 7 minutes.
Sightings are non-existent on the storm-tossed bay. 10,000 dugong are in hiding. A rich sunset gives hope. A warm sunny change is most welcome.
The conditions are more favourable now the sun's come up and the water's nice and warm here. It's 23 degrees, and that's why we're seeing animals here.
The change is remarkable. Dugong are surfacing everywhere.
She was about out here, Craig.
High tide sweeps warm water in from the South Passage and over the seagrass beds. The dugong go with this flow.
Directly on the port bow, but I can't see her now.
Here he is, look, he's just about to surface. Oh, wow. There's one off the starboard bow near Jackie.
These are the conditions Ben has been waiting for.
I have to approach very slow and quiet. Dugong are alert and shy, and their hearing is excellent. They're more intelligent than previously thought. I rely on their curiosity to come to me and investigate. When their curiosity is satisfied, they disappear.
I lost that one.
6 metres to your right, Ben. Now he's moving off now, just out in front of you.
The dugong are feeding on the tough wireweed. The moment they sense I'm too close, they disperse. Their snout is expanded into a short trunk with a large upper lip covered in stiff bristles. They root into the seaweed like a pig.
That was great, Alan. really great.
The conditions are now favourable to return to the clear waters of South Passage. It's the best place in Australia for Ben to obtain good underwater pictures of the dugong. They know there's a large herd in here. It's just a matter of time before they'll pass by.
Adam's that one there?
Yeah, I think it's one. It might be a turtle, but it looks like one. Just sitting just underneath the water.
Yeah.
It's a dugong, Jackie.
There's something brown underneath the water. It's only sort of 10 metres out. Oh, it looks good out there, Ben.
Oh, it looks great, Jackie. I think we're very, very lucky.
Ready, Jackie?
Yeah. God, they're everywhere. There's a whole herd of them. They're beautiful.
Dugong do not form family groups and nor are herds governed by a bull. Males are often solitary. Dugong have a very low reproductive rate. Females may live to 70 years and not produce their first calf until they're 15.
Ben and Jackie are just over there about 50 metres away, so if you just slip into the water very quietly as you can, and then just swim purposely over that way, you should come across some dugongs, but any splashing tends to frighten the animals.
Okay, thanks.
Like all mammals, the dugong must surface to breathe, and unlike whales and dolphins, it can't stay down for long, about 7 minutes. Dugong use their flute tail to swim, and their front flippers for balance and turning. Their movements are slow and graceful, though they're capable of short spurts of over 20 kilometres per hour. They grow to about 3 metres in length and can weigh a portly 400 kilos. They do eat a lot, about 50 kilos of seagrass every day. Dugong do communicate with faintly heard chirps and squeaks and barks.
How was it, Jackie?
Oh, wow. That was just amazing.
Lots of animals out there?
They're everywhere. They're so graceful. Oh, it's beautiful.
Magic. It's nice to see some warm, clear water, isn't it?
Coward calf. Okay.
There's at least 2 animals just over here, just behind where that wave's starting to stand up there in the distance.
Young Adam has acquired the same underwater filming skills as his father. There's a physical change in the mood of the herd. Their past curiosity, now skittish and more difficult to approach.
I'll just take your camera for you.
That was amazing. Can't believe how many dugong there actually are.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I looked up at you to see where they were, and then I popped my head back underwater and I saw 5 of them just staring at me. I couldn't believe it.
That's amazing. I think we'll take a bit of a rest now and take you back to the boat, just give our animals a chance to regroup and not feel harassed. So we'll just quietly take the dinghy back without too much noise and without changing the revs too much.
jacket. Yeah, really good. You can see that little beady eyes just watching you all the time. They've got this like really weird grin on their face. This is like classic.
I'm going to make sure that I'm warm. 2 jackets and a wetsuit on top.
Dugong are one of the most difficult of marine creatures to film close up. In a large herd, I have a better chance. They feel safer in numbers. I find I achieve better results if I'm quietly on my own. Curiosity always brings them in for a closer look. This one is supplementing its vegetarian diet with shellfish that are buried in the sand. A farewell roll for the benefit of my camera, and it loses interest in me.
How do you go, man?
Oh, that really paid off. It really did. You know, just being on my own like that,
Yeah.
that's the best footage that I've got so far.
Oh, that's good.
The Shark Bay population is healthy and stable, but serious problems do exist on the east coast.
Okay, well, the area that we're really concerned about is the area between Dunk Island and Harvey Bay. And in that region, we estimate that the dugong numbers have declined about 50% since the mid-80s.
As far as who's responsible, do you think it's the Indigenous people with their hunting or us with our development?
I think that the causes probably vary in different areas. So that, for example, in Harvey Bay itself, we know that there was a massive seagrass dieback, 1,000 square kilometres of seagrass, after 2 floods and a cyclone in 1992. So lots of animals died because they didn't have enough to eat. In some of the other areas, the causes are complicated and include traditional hunting, incidental capture of animals in gill nets, boat strikes, habitat loss. I think that probably more dugongs have been killed incidentally in fishing nets than have been killed by Indigenous people. What we do know is that the rate of gill netting mortalities was unsustainable.
And how do you see the future of the dugong in Australia?
I think that there are parts of Northern Australia, and particularly places in Western Australia like Shark Bay, where the future of the dugong is probably pretty secure. I'm worried about the long-term future in Torres Strait, which is the most important place for dugong in Australia, because there is a high take by Indigenous people. Now, our data suggests that it's probably not sustainable in at least some years. The area we're worried about is the urban coast of Queensland, between Dunk Island and Harvey Bay.
To address this alarming decline in dugong numbers, a chain of dugong sanctuaries has just been established along the Queensland coast. James Cook University is at the forefront of dugong research. Dr. Tony Preen is another expert.
Hey, man.
What are you looking at?
These latest locations from a few of the dugongs.
In your tracking studies, did you find much movement in the dugong population?
Dugongs live to be 70 years. A lot can happen in a dugong's life in that time. Seagrass beds can come and go, cyclones can come and decimate parts of the coast. To have good food supply, they have to be aware of where all the seagrass grows along the coast, and that means that they have to be able to be familiar with much of the coast. So I think the main thing that comes out is this huge individual variation. Some animals move a great deal, some are really quite resident, some stay in the same place for months and months at a time, and then they'll move hundreds of kilometres.
From all this tracking here, Tony, you must be learning a lot more about their behaviour.
The mating behaviour, when it happens, does seem to be really quite energetic. A female might have up to 10 or 15 males essentially pursuing her, even harassing her for at least days, and you get amazing fights. Huge conflagrations of males just coming together, really exploding out of the water, great huge white water coming up.
dugongs lunging across one another. There's just so much tension around the whole thing, and it's the one time that I wouldn't get in the water with the dugong.
Ben Cropp is conducting his own aerial survey of dugong off Port Douglas by the seat of his pants.
Okay, I'm just going to head south, head up towards Yule Point. Remember that little bay there that we always seem to see dugong? We'll check that out first. Beautiful weather, beautiful.
So calm, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's a lot here, isn't there?
That's 1, 2, 3, 4.
Isn't that a carp? One of them's a carp.
Oh, right. Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
Maybe
I'm going to swing around and run up to Port Douglas and go up to Muddy Creek. Aha, see it? See them?
there's a whole pile of them feeding on that eelgrass.
Oh, there's lots. I've never seen this many before, Adam.
How many you reckon are there?
I
Quite a
don't-
few.
Well, we'll try and count. I think we should try and count them. This is the most dugong I've ever seen here. That's 20. 20 dugong.
dugong. That is a lot.
Oh, it's a real lot. I've never seen 20 here before.
Right, Adam, Yule Point. I've marked in here 4 dugong that we saw here in this little bay. One had a calf. Just a little bit further along, remember, there was another dugong here. And then we flew around Port Douglas up to Muddy Creek. That's where we really saw a lot. Remember how many were there?
About 22, all in clear water.
Yeah, very, very easy to see. That really is a terrific area. I mean, that's worth having a sanctuary all in that area with so many dugong.
Dead dugong do make news.
I hate it, I really do. It's not a good thing.
Some fishermen have been offered up to $40 a kilo to supply dugong meat to buyers from Southeast Asia.
Well, hang them from the highest tree if they are.
The sight of a mother dugong suckling its baby, and after a few years at sea for a lonely sailor, was probably enough for one's imagination to run wild. Thus was born the legend of the Mermaid, the siren of the sea. It's sad that most of our knowledge of dugong is derived from dead specimens.
What is that thing? Oh, look, it's a teat. Must be an immature female.
The tusks of mating males cause these scars.
And bristles. Like really, really hard stubble.
So nice.
Ben's diving skills enables him to observe their real behaviour underwater. A free spirit without a care in the world. All large marine creatures have to put up with freeloading remoras. One way to get rid of these sucker fish is to roll into the sand. A single calf stays close to its mother for 2 years, and the interval between calving is about 5 years. They're not fast breeders. Although the baby dugong begins to eat seagrass within 2 weeks of birth, the mother continues to suckle it for 18 months. Healthy seagrass beds are their lifeblood. Dieback from pollution and trawling and dredging has reduced dugong numbers. They leave cloudy trails through the seagrass as they root out the starch-laden rhizomes. The dugong's only predator in the wild is the tiger shark. It will relentlessly hound a dugong down. The dugong stirs up the sand in an attempt to hide, but to no avail. Being a dugong means that when you're old or sick, you will be eaten by a tiger shark. Cropp travels north on his boat to witness the culture that still exists between indigenous people and the dugong. Their cave art is the oldest record.
There's a very good dugong painting just up in the cave here. Just a little bit further. Right, there's a pearling lugger, and up here the dugong. There's about 200 dugong out in the bay here, so I guess the Aborigines saw lots of them and certainly had a lot of tucker. This is Saibai Island, and there's another island nearby called Boigu. They're very similar, they're low and swampy, and only about 2 nautical miles from the Papua New Guinea mainland.
Oh, okay.
But there's a lot of dugong hunting here, and also, especially why I came here, is there's a very strong cultural link between the natives here and the dugong.
Oh, wonderful.
When a boy reached puberty, he was given a harpoon and taken out to spear his first dugong. A great feast would follow, and the young hunter could go into the house of the uncle who took him out and take any item he wanted.
Okay.
Today, in our material world, that could break the uncle. So now they leave the boy behind and wait till he's 21, and then give him a harpoon for his birthday. A detachable head called a tartar is inserted in the wop harpoon. A birthday feast is on tonight, and both turtle and dugong are required for the menu.
What have you got? Turtle.
Now for a dugong.
Go, Sarah, go! Sarah, 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 go!
But an old law still prevails. Don't be greedy, treat the sea and its creatures with respect, or it will not respect you. The sea is bountiful around Saibai Island. Dugong meat is crucial to the celebration of a special occasion, so the hunters are held in high esteem. As well as being an important food source, dugong are of great social and cultural significance.
In our culture, we believe that young men that reach the puberty stage, it's essential that they don't eat baby dugongs because it has an effect to their beards and it just toughens it up and it's hard to shave. Most islanders believe that, and I think the same effect takes place to any dugong, that when a pregnant woman or any woman eats the nose of it, that later on beards will grow. So that's another myth or legend or a belief that the island people believe happens to our people.
While the dugong meat is fried like a steak, the turtle is baked in a bush oven.
Bring my mate.
Is that turtle?
Oh, this is turtle. It's absolutely beautiful.
What are you eating, Ellen?
Dugong.
Tastes good?
Like a steak.
In the old days, the Saibai natives hunted dugong by canoe and only had to go a little way out from the village to find them. They prepare for a traditional dugong dance that tells of how they hunted years ago. The dance is called a tadra, and it begins on the beach where they see some dugong a little way offshore. They prepare their harpoons and paddle out to spear the dugong. Hunting techniques differ from island to island in the Torres Strait.
This is Mobiac Island. I haven't been here before, but I understand that they do a lot of dugong hunting, and they hunt in a different way to the other islands, almost in a primitive way.
Mobiac's two top hunters are testing their skills. John Coburn is in one dinghy, Frank Janai in the other. The detachable barb is carefully set in the wop harpoon. Ben takes a little camera with him in one of the dinghies. Propulsion is by a simple sail, a tablecloth in fact. The idea is to quietly sail across the reef and steer towards any dugong. Sharon Harris and Adam Cropp follow in the same way. No motor is to be used. Sharp eyes pick out a dugong up ahead, and they angle their course downwind to intersect where the dugong should surface again. Patience is a virtue out here. Frank must time the right moment to cross the dugong's path. Frank hit the dugong from 10 metres. Quite a throw.
See if this works a little bit better.
Adam is trying to keep up with the second hunter, John, who's running downwind towards another dugong. Only now can the motorised dinghy move in. There are two fast-moving floats to catch up. A second harpoon will be used to make sure of the catch. The trainee assistant has his turn. The speedy retreat to the dinghy is because of tiger sharks.
It's just a traditional thing that we do. Like the second shot guarantees that this is our supper. I'm getting this clip ready to put around its tail. We can drag it and drown it. That's the way we kill them. Now we're gonna drown it first, then we're gonna put it in the dinghy. We're gonna make a sling. One rope's gonna be around the tail, and one we're gonna put under the flippers. So when we pull it in, it'll roll the dugong in, and it'll fall, and then we'll try and set it in this space so we can get back home more quicker. It's been done like this from years and years, so that's the way we do it today.
Ben saw 12 dugong caught in 10 days. This is not a sustainable level to maintain their population. 2% mortality of females each year is the maximum.
This one is a young bull, I say about 15 years old. I think it's very healthy because I can tell by the color of the skin. So it's good eating, I think. Very nice soft meat.
Adam, it's really bloated here. Must be close to giving birth.
Why is the teat so large on this dugong?
Yeah, probably it's got a second one inside. Usually the first one has got a small teats, but I think it's got a second calf inside.
So this is the second calf it's had in its lifetime?
Yeah, it's from the second one, yeah.
Soon these lads will initiate into manhood with their own dugong kill. Ben offers a dugong flipper to the tiger sharks that followed the hunters in. A lipstick camera on a pole records the action without any danger.
Rolling.
Tell you what, that gave me a fright.
As long as he doesn't grab you or the camera will be right.
I know which is the more valuable, me or the camera.
Dugong have more to cope with than this predator. Tanna Island in Vanuatu is famous for its active volcano. For many of the people here, the sea is their provider.
Who's those?
16 years ago, there were 2 dugong living in Port Resolution Bay. The mother was killed and eaten, and the male calf became a pet of the locals. They call it in every day for the tourists simply by thumping the surface. Tourists from around the world come to Port Resolution to swim with the tame dugong. Being the only dugong in all of Tanna, the lonely animal craves the company of humans. It will come when called 2 or 3 times a day. Male, it shows an affinity towards females and dislikes males.
Rhonda is nice to the dugong and it responds in an affectionate way. When a male diver pulls its tail, it vents its anger at me with my camera.
It was really upsetting. The dugong had me down underneath, had his fins around me and pushing me down, and I just couldn't get out. It was in an embrace. I still had the camera running, but I was busting for air. He doesn't like males.
We soon learned to freeze and let the dugong dominate us. 200 kilos of bull strength is not to be argued with. the right approach. Just let the animal do what it wants.
I think he wants to clean his teeth on your wetsuit because green grass seems to come out, but it doesn't hurt. It's just the whiskers on the wetsuit.
It's taken Rhonda's flipper. The dugong wants to play. It's showing a dog-like characteristic in the way it clings to the divers and nuzzles their wetsuits.
Cropp spends a week with the tame dugong. It's a wonderful opportunity to closely observe dugong behaviour. The lonely animal craves companionship. Ben finds that if he or Rhonda can be alone with the dugong, without the boisterous tourist activity, the dugong quietens down and reverts to natural behaviour. It actually leads Ben away from the tourists to clearer water out in the bay.
Bit tight. I'm glad my camera's waterproof.
There's a big bay out there. I want to know where the dugong goes when not on call for the tourists. Where and when does he feed? We follow his bobbing head across the bay until he seems to stop. I'm hoping he will ignore me and the canoe and get on with his normal activities. Remora fish hanger-ons do seem to annoy him. There's one good way to get rid of them. The natives told me that the dugong actually catches turtles for them and brings them back to the rock. He's done this more than 100 times. I find it hard to believe such intelligence from the dugong until I see it actually happen.
Hey, look, the dugong has got the daughter. Listen, grab it.
First happened by chance, and the dugong saw how pleased his native friends were when they took the turtle from him. Perhaps there's a survival instinct in this regular event. If I give you a turtle every week, You are not going to eat me like my mother, for I am a provider. Whatever the reason, this is one smart dugong.
So the dugong brings the turtle for you?
Yeah. Tell thank you very much for the dugong to give us fresh meat.
I saw the dugong was playing with a turtle out there. They were trying to get it in because there was tourists here that want to watch the dugong, and then but he won't come in because he was playing and everything.
Turtle for dinner.
Legends are usually created from some fact. Perhaps long ago there was another tame dugong like this one that loved to play and hug people. Imaginations ran wild as the story was retold, and the mermaid legend was born. The dugong is really a nice animal. Harmless, intelligent, gregarious, and worth protecting just for its own lovable self.